Welcome to the WOHASU Ripple Effect podcast, a global happiness series exploring the science and stories that shape our well-being. Hi, I'm your host, Elisa Juarez, and in this season, we're focusing on transitions, those inevitable life changes that challenge us, shape us, and open the door to new possibilities. Through conversations with expert coaches and thought leaders from the WOHASU community, we'll uncover practical tools, transformative insights, and inspirational personal stories to help you navigate change with clarity and joy. This podcast is part of the World Happiness Summit's mission to create a global ripple effect of positivity grounded in the latest research and the shared experiences of our vibrant community. Whether you're starting a new chapter, redefining your purpose, or searching for meaning in life shifts, this season offers strategies to help you thrive and find deeper fulfillment. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and let's create that ripple effect of happiness together. And today I have the opportunity to talk to career mindset and female empowerment coach Lara Morgan. We'll explore how we navigate career transitions and align our personal purpose with professional growth. Take a listen. Today I have the pleasure of talking to one of our WOHASU coaches and facilitators, Lara Morgan, who is a career and mindset coach. I'm super excited about this conversation because we are going to explore how to align our personal purpose with professional growth. And I really hope that during our conversation, Lara will shed some light on strategies for navigating career pivots, accelerating growth, and managing uncertainty. Welcome, Lara. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, thanks. Thanks for the lovely introduction. I'm also super excited about this chat. It's one of my favorite topics, as you know.
I love it. So I notice you have an accent. Tell me, where are you calling in from?
Well, this is where it gets complicated. Ooh. My accent is Scottish, but I'm calling in from my home in the Netherlands, Amsterdam.
Nice. So I'm calling in American accent, but calling in from Colombia. And I think this is a huge testament to the power of the WOHASU community. And when we talk about that we are a global community, I think this is a great proof point of how this happens. Doesn't matter where we are in the world, we share that connection around happiness, the study of positive psychology, and this connection and community continues to grow throughout the world. So super excited to get into today's conversation. You mentioned when we met that your focus is really around career transitions. I think it's a perfect topic as we explore transitions in this series. So tell me a little bit about the work that you do and why you have decided that this is like a key focus area for you.
Yeah, good question. So I've been working with people in organizations and also individuals for the past 5 years on this topic. I'm especially passionate about helping people cultivate their purpose by using their strengths and desires to fuel their career growth and to fuel their passions, really. I don't believe that we should spend all of our time at work doing something we don't truly enjoy, that isn't aligned with our values, and really just wishing our life away. If we're lucky enough to have a roof over our head and safety, which is a great privilege in this day and age, then I think we should make our time count. And that means doing work that we really care about.
So tell me a little bit about how that actually comes out into play. And what I'm thinking is, a lot of times we hear like, follow your passions and you'll never have to work another day in your life. And then we hear the other side of, but my passion doesn't necessarily give me safety, security, a house, a roof over my head, food on the table. So how do you help people balance that so they are living their best through their career choices with purpose, but actually being able to make a living off of it as well?
Getting straight into the juice, for sure. I love that. Look, some people are lucky enough to be living fully in alignment and doing something they are extremely passionate about. It isn't always within reach right away for everyone, but the odds should be stacked in our favor. I'll give you an example. So I've made a couple of big career transitions in my life, and one that stands out was when I was working in HR as a head of people, and I did the mental math, and I realized that only 20% or less was actually the part of my job that lit me up, which was helping people and serving people one-on-one, and really, really that in-person connection. And then the other part, the largest chunk, was things that actually drained my energy. Sure, maybe we can't all do huge career pivots straight away, but at least try and move the odds in your favor. So if you're thinking right now that, oh, only about 10% of my job I actually like and the rest is draining me, then we want to try and move the needle in your favor. Aim for a 60-70 or above ratio.
So
And I've got a simple a way of figuring that
I
out. So
literally was going to ask
simply,
you, it's like, so how do you actually do that? So like, are there tools or frameworks that you work with to help people not only take that stock? Because that's, I mean, a big realization. The fact that you paused and said, 20% of my job is actually like fulfilling. How did you come to that realization? And then how do you help the people that you coach and work with sit down, do that, and maybe move on to the next step?
yeah. Well, if you are feeling that, or if a person is feeling that they're not enjoying their job, they're lacking motivation, they're not, come Sunday, they're feeling the fear and anxiety, and they're not excited about going to work the next day, that's of course a telltale sign that something's off kilter. But I always give this really simple exercise to my clients at the beginning of a program. I simply draw a line in the middle of a page and write on one side energy givers and the other side energy drainers, and simply list your tasks and start to see in black and white how much of your job you're actually enjoying and how much is draining your energy. And this is very linked to our strengths, because actually the science behind it shows that when we're using our strengths, so what God gave us, those skills that come most naturally to us, that's when we're in alignment, we're enjoying what we're doing. Whereas when we're not, when we're going against our natural inclinations and trying to do work that isn't in alignment with our strengths, that's when the struggle comes.
So I'm just doing the mental math right now. I have the line in my head, the tasks that I really enjoy, the tasks that I'm like, not so much. What happens next? Like, how do you have the conversations with the people that you work with to look at it pragmatically, right? You literally said you look at it black and white. Like this is what you wrote on a paper. How do you help people go through that the next step and transition to something that might be better aligned with their purpose?
Great question. It always starts with self-awareness. So before we even start to talk about what is it you're going to do next, what roads can you take, and how exactly are we going to get there from a practical perspective, that's all really important. But first starts with the self-awareness piece, which is, what strengths do I have? What am I good at? What value can I bring to the world? Also, what do I want? What lifestyle do I want to live? Where do I want to live? Um, how do I want to spend my days and what sort of capacity? And also, of course, what the world needs.
Yeah.
We also need to bear in mind the time that we're living in and what's relevant to the market. So we first start with that data collection piece, and I like to use strengths tests. I study positive psychology, so I'm a big fan of strengths tests. I use one particular one called VIA Strengths.
Oh yeah.
In all of my programs. I like VIA Strengths because it's got a values sort of stance as opposed to really hardcore skills based strengths. So it's quite applicable to a very wide range of industries, which is important.
So what do you see then with some of the people that you work with in terms of like maybe pitfalls or mistakes that they might make? And I'm asking from the sense of someone who is going through a career transition, and I think sometimes I get tripped up maybe on that, like what the diagram that you're saying, right? Like what are my strengths? What can I do? And then like what does the world need? And I think if you could help like talk through maybe some of the things that you observe and pitfalls that we can maybe avoid as we explore a career transition.
I'm so glad that you asked that, Eliza, because there's a really common one that I see in almost all of my clients, and that is letting the head and the ego get in the way and not listening to yourself and to your intuition. I've actually got a guided meditation that I can share for anyone that struggles with this, and it's really to tune into the heart and to listen to what actually you want rather than the external noise, because if you're trying to please, say, your partner or your mom or some high school teacher that is irrelevant right now, you're going to get so tripped up when you do any of these exercises because you're trying to factor in too much external noise. You really need to tap into what's true for you. Only you know that.
I love that you mentioned ego. I think that's a huge part of what you're saying, of like that head getting in the way and the ego. Can you talk a little bit more about ego? Like, I think that's a super interesting perspective inside of this conversation of transition, of letting the ego not get in the way.
I'll give you an example. So, my first career 2 transitions ago was actually in fashion. I came out of uni after studying psychology and made this weird transition into the world of fashion because, I mean, for many reasons, maybe I wasn't yet ready emotionally to go down the psychology route, or which is where my intuition says is true, is I thought that it would be cool. I thought it would be fun. It was nothing to do with my values, and because it didn't last very long, I soon realized that I did not care about the stitching on a t-shirt. I really cared about people problems, not the lining on an underwear, which I used to work on ladies' lingerie, or the stitching on a t-shirt. And that's a typical example of making a career decision based on external factors and based on how you'd be perceived and the ego, as opposed to what is your deep core values and what do you really care about, which is why it's so important to do that work on finding your core values and finding your strengths.
I have a very fun image. Like, I imagine things very, like, I'm a very visual person. And so, like, I'm imagining a younger Lara, like, on a sewing machine with, like, ladies' lingerie and being like, talking to the other people, like, how do you feel? Like, does this bring fulfillment to you?
Oh my gosh.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm hearing the pitfall, let go of ego. But something that we talk a lot about in the WOHASU world is habits, right? The things that we continue doing over and over and over again. And this almost sounds like breaking some of those habits that we may have had. So sense of identity tied to a career, towards a field of study, towards people that we want to please. And I wonder, like, the time then it would take and the patience one might have or need to have to be able to break some of those habits when considering a career transition. Am I kind of on the right direction? Like, what do you do to coach people around this, to have patience, maybe not jump into the next thing without really thinking about it?
Definitely. There's habits and there's beliefs. And I work a lot with beliefs, which is closely tied to habits, because we act based on the beliefs we hold about ourselves and our abilities and our relationships and the market and the world as it stands. So I work with people on reprogramming their limiting beliefs. So firstly, understanding what are the beliefs they hold about their career, about their abilities, and what needs changing, what needs opening up in order for them to really follow their truth and go after a career that they love. Because, you know, our beliefs are formed in childhood and they're cemented as we go through adulthood. So many people hold beliefs like, one for me was when I really liked art at school, but I had the belief that artists didn't make money. So that quite quickly got pushed to the side. I didn't continue with art, and you can see the cycle continues. And this happens in adulthood too. So we have certain beliefs. I see it a lot with women, especially that I work with, that want to start their own business but haven't had entrepreneurship modeled in their circles, haven't seen it in their family. Therefore, don't hold the belief that that's something that is attainable or possible for them. And it's simply reframing that belief and finding evidence to support the new belief that can see them visualize a path forward.
As you're talking, I'm thinking of some of my limiting beliefs when it comes to career. So I feel like I have some work to do, but I think what you're saying, like those childhood memories of what either a parent told you or what a teacher told you can stick.
Absolutely.
And what I'm hearing you say is like you need to have the space to name it, like observe it, identify it, name it, to then be able to take action to move on and make the transition to something else.
Exactly. It always starts with awareness. So having awareness of that belief and then questioning its validity.
Yeah.
Then we also do some work with the subconscious, so reprogramming those beliefs through hypnosis in order to help solidify the new belief. But this can be done with simple things like affirmations.
Love that.
In the mirror in the morning is another simple way of doing that. It's amazing what happens the more you tell your mind something.
Yeah.
You've been telling your mind one thing your whole life. Again, to use the example of artists don't make money. Of course, you're going to believe it. Of course, that's going to dictate the actions you take. But what if you try and switch that up? What if you solidify a new belief, one that actually serves your potential?
So can you share a story of maybe somebody that you worked with, obviously not giving anything that would invade privacy details, but like big picture of one of those transformations that you were able to see that you're like, if everybody could kind of live this experience, like imagine how amazing the world would be.
Yeah, for sure. One client in particular, I won't name their name, but they had a bad experience of starting a business with an ex-partner, and it didn't work. The relationship split up, and they then had the belief that they weren't good at business or they weren't able to be successful in business. So that was just not even in the equation. But quite quickly, when we started to work together, it became obvious that was what she really wanted and that was what she was supposed to do. We just had to overcome that belief that she wasn't going to be successful at it if she pursued it. Now we worked a lot on building her self-belief and building her confidence and installing these new beliefs that she could actually be successful and that she would be successful. And now she's working on her business full time and it's really thriving. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. Super inspiring. I just hope anyone who's like listening or watching has that, if they needed that extra nudge to maybe think differently about where they are in their career and where they are right now, to at least take that moment to pause, really reflect, see how their current situation is aligning with their strengths and their values and the needs of the world and the workforce. And then I think also really giving the time to work on what that next step is.
Yeah. Time is a good point because it's really not a case of will I be successful? It's when will I be successful? And if you can stick to it for long enough and be resilient, there's always going to be hurdles, whether you're starting a business or it's just a career transition. Of course, there's going to be challenges, but your ability to trust yourself and to overcome the challenges when they arise one by one will make or break your career transition.
I love it. Is there anything else that you want that maybe we didn't address that you find to be really key for people to keep in mind as they think about this kind of transition, career transition?
I would just say that there's really no journey that's more important for your self-actualization, for your energy, for your vitality, also for your health. At WOHASU this year, we learned that there's actually a physiological connection between purpose and health.
Yeah.
So if you are following your purpose and following your passions, this could actually be connected with a health span of up to 7 years, which is crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. So not just lifespan, but actually a healthier life as well. Following a passion and doing something you love gives you life force energy and actually makes you healthier. If that isn't a reason to do it, I don't know what is.
I love it. So I ask all of our guests one fun question. And one question I had for you, since we're talking about careers and life journeys in the workforce. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
Oh, I love this question, and I'm going to ask you the same one back.
Ooh, okay.
Hope you're prepared. Yeah, I went through a big phase of wanting to be an artist.
Okay.
Again, it got quite quickly shut down by my mother, and again, I hadn't seen that modeled in my family at all, so it just wasn't something that I thought I could do. But I'm starting to dip my toes into art again.
Love it.
As a hobby. So there you go.
I love it. So I was
And
raised
you?
in Miami, and I wanted to be a marine biologist. And then I don't know if it was a
What
marine
happened?
biologist or a dolphin trainer, or if I just really wanted to play with like sea otters and penguins all day. I don't know, but that was definitely my jam. And then I actually did have the chance to spend some time in a marine lab in high school, and I did not love it. It was a sea coral restoration project, which is incredibly important, and a huge amount of respect to the researchers who are finding ways to save our corals, because they are incredibly important for our world. But it was not what I had imagined a career in marine biology would be. So
I can imagine it would be quite slow moving. Is that the case?
So, very much so. I mean, I know there's lots of other careers in marine biology, but did not end up going that route, but did end up studying biology in college. So I really liked the sciences, and I really enjoyed it. So that's what I wanted to be when I grew up.
You never know.
You never know. So this was super fun. Are there any resources that we can share? I know you mentioned there was a meditation that we can share with our listeners. Is there anything else that maybe we can share with them? And then also, if you can tell us how our listeners can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, I've got the Career Clarity Visualization audio recording, which is a free download that everyone can access, and also a Discover Your Purpose in 7 Days mini course, which has some tools on how to find your values, how to find your strengths, and start to get a picture of what you might be able to do in this world. So yeah, we can link them for everyone to see. My all-female one-on-one coaching program starts in January. It's called She Thrives. I'll also link the waitlist for that. And otherwise, I'm always popping up on LinkedIn talking about purpose and career transitions. So if you want to follow me there, I'd love to see you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. So we will put those resources in the comment section below. And thank you very much, Lara, for making the time today. I had so much fun. I'm super inspired. I'm going to go download that, the meditation right now, and I will definitely check out your course. And I think that's the power of the WOHASU community. When we go to the summits, I think it's a great moment for us to get the experience of listening to researchers and scientists and educators on main stage with the latest research and trends that are happening in this field of science, well-being, positive psychology. But what I also really love is the community that comes out of it. Our coaches, our facilitators who are doing the work day in and day out in their businesses around the world, helping make the world a happier place. Thank you very much for being part of the community and for sharing some of your knowledge and some of your resources. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Ciao until our next episode.
Oh my goodness, this podcast was filled with amazing nuggets from Lara. These are a few of my takeaways. So number one, really think about aligning your career with your own personal purpose. And to be able to do this, really think about your self-awareness. So crucial at a time of career transitions. One thing that I am sure to pay attention to are the energy givers and drainers in your job. I thought that was a really good pause to think about what is causing us to have a lot of energy and what is draining us in our day-to-day job. Another thing that I thought was super interesting and a great call out was overcoming ego and really listening to your intuitions. Think about reprogramming your limiting beliefs to unlock your ultimate potential. And I'm noticing in a lot of these conversations around transitions and transformation, patience is key, especially in navigating career changes. A good reminder that success is a journey, not a destination, and to really think about how purpose can both enhance your own lifespan as well as your own health. So these are a few of the takeaways that I took from our conversation. What did you think? Put it in the comments below. Follow along for more. Episodes will be coming out around the Ripple Effect podcast from the WOHASU community. Excited to have you along. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the WOHASU Ripple Effect podcast. As we navigate life's transitions together, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you? What's one small step that you will take towards greater happiness and well-being? Share your reflections and join the conversation in the comments below. Join us at WOHASU 2025 in Miami, March 15th and 16th to connect with a global community, dive into the latest research on happiness and well-being, and learn from world-class experts on happiness and social impact. It's a unique opportunity to come together, share experiences, and spark ideas that inspire positive change. Oh, and as a thank you for being part of our podcast community, you get to enjoy an exclusive 10% off your tickets with the code RIPPLE at checkout. That's RIPPLE. Visit worldhappinesssummit.com to learn more and reserve your spot today. We look forward to seeing you there and continuing this journey of creating a ripple effect of happiness and purpose. See you soon.